Hi, I'm Alison from Newcastle Speech Pathology, and I've got Tash here, who's a very dear friend and mum to the gorgeous Callie Ray. And Tash has just expressed a bit of frustration about dealing with Callie Ray and communication. So tell us about it, Tash.
We've turned this corner where she's just so frustrated. I can see that she's trying to communicate. We've started sign language really early so she can say the normal couple of words, but she just cannot express to me how she feels, what she's doing, and I'm just not coping. I don't think that there's anything worse than a frustrated child when you're a frustrated parent. It's so hard to communicate with little people that can't speak. You're not sure. You're a first-time mom, or maybe even, no, not even a first-time mom. Even if you're a fifth-time mom, because you're dealing with different children all the time, it's so difficult.
Yeah, it's very hard. It comes on quickly, doesn't it? 1 minute there's beautiful little tiny baby that just eats and sleeps and you can
does what you want them to do.
So suddenly she's got her own ideas and opinions, and at quite a young age, and she obviously hasn't got the language skills to tell you what she's thinking or what she wants. So you can see a lot of that frustration start to build up. And I have seen it in Callie. She gets that.
That's exactly it. That is the thing that is making me go crazy. That, and you can see it's frustration, but she can just say the words like mama, dada, a few key people in her life that she knows, but nothing concrete. We're not reaching and saying bottle, or she can do a couple of signs, but nothing. We don't have a concrete language.
Yeah. So what we really need to recognise is that every time she's making sounds and she's looking, giving us eye contact, and she's reaching for things, she's actually communicating. So even though we don't have words, she's communicating, and we're seeing the results of her feelings, but we don't know specifically yet what it is that's making her so frustrated. So we actually just have to guess. Yep. So you take in consideration all the context, what's going on around, what time of day it is. Is she likely to be sleepy? Is she likely to be hungry? Is she likely to be looking for more stimulation, more attention? You kind of do a bit of a situational analysis and then go with your gut. So then the next thing to do is actually ask her. So even though she's so young and we can't expect her to use words to answer our questions, she's not too young to hear a question, because we can ask her question and then give her a choice of potential answers. So, for example, we could say, Callie Ray, you're looking a bit cranky. It's time for bed, Callie Ray. Would you like your bottle or your dummy? So we're still keeping some boundaries in place as to what we're expecting to happen in the day, but we're giving her some sense of agency and control over what her options are.
Sorry, this just seems so bizarre to me that I need to now ask her things, but at this age, is she actually going to be able to make a choice?
Yes, she is, absolutely. Yep. So you think of a lot of the time she's frustrated because she's particularly wanting to have a particular snack, for example. And you see this particularly in, the little toddlers who are starting to move around a lot more, and they might be standing at the cupboard and just grunting and making noises. Mm-hmm. And as a parent, you go, oh, okay, well, I guess they're hungry. But you might find that you're standing there just going through every item in the pantry going, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? I mean, you have to remember that you're still the parent and you actually do have that ultimate responsibility for setting up the boundary markers in your child's life. But within that framework, you've got the capacity to give them a choice. So rather than opening up the pantry or the fridge to 100 options, pick 2. But the trick is they've got to be 2 that you are very happy for to have. So, Callie Ray, do you want the crackers or do you want the banana? So chances are she's going to be happy with
both. Both choices actually don't really affect my life in any way.
That's right.
She's eating.
That's right.
And when it comes to giving her the options, what is the best way to eliminate frustration on both ends? Should I, obviously only 2 now, so I'm going to say, Callie, do you want your dummy or do you want your bottle? What if she's made the wrong choice? What if she reaches for a bottle and realizes, actually, that's not what I want? I'd rather want my dummy. How do I teach her that, you've made this choice, this is what you decided? Because I can imagine her standing in front of the pantry when she's 2 years old and saying, no, and constantly changing her mind. How do I eliminate that?
She's got to understand that when she's made a choice, she's made a choice. It doesn't mean she can't change her mind, but there's got to be that clear, rather than, so if you're saying, using the dummy and the bottle example, do you want your dummy or your bottle? And she reaches for one, give that to her straight away. Don't keep asking the question to see if she changes her mind. Ask her the question once. She reaches for what she wants. That's what you give her. That's the choice made. Now, if she looks at it and gets actually showing you that that's not really what she wants, then you bring the other option back and go, which one do you want? And still the same two choices.
Okay, and let her constantly distinguish between the two things.
That's right. So basically, if she looks at a particular item, or she reaches for an item,
that's communication.
That's communicating. She's communicating, that's the one that I want. And she has to know that there's been a consequence for that choice. Yeah.
So I'm also finding that with her, as soon as I remove something from her, like something that she shouldn't be having, she's getting so frustrated and screaming, obviously trying to tell me that she still wants the object, but it's really becoming a point that's it's a point of contention.
The first question is, what does she have, and does she really need to surrender it, I guess? So has she been given something that perhaps she shouldn't have been given, or allowed something that perhaps you don't want her to have? So, for example, was she given the phone as a distraction and now you want the phone back again? Maybe. Hey, we all do it.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what she's got. If sometimes you're just in a situation you can't avoid having given the child what it was a temporary...
You did what you had to do.
Yeah, you did what you had to do. Absolutely fine. So the thing is, how do you get it back? So then you need to communicate with her. You can't just be expected her to hand it over. You can't say, Callie, I need the phone back, and then take it off her. She's human. She needs a little bit of warning. She needs a little bit of prep. You need to talk to her about it and let her know what you're going to do. You can't just go, I'm going to take that and take it. Give her some time to process the language that you're using. She might not understand every word that you're saying, but just it's that communicating respect. So you're giving her, it's like you've given her the option to surrender it on her own free will.
Rather than just taking
it from her. So you're still giving her that sense of choice. What I would also do, though, is as you're, I would say, Callie Ray, I need to have the phone. Ta, please.
Ta, please.
And, and then she, if she doesn't give it to you straight away, which, let's face it, she's not really going to, I would have something else to distract her.
So like a swap.
You can do a swap, absolutely. And you can even, in that moment, do a choice as well. So you might have two things for her to choose from and go, Callie Ray, I'm going to have the phone. Would you like the or that? So she's then not making a choice between the phone and whatever you're offering. You're giving her two things.
Because that's not really a choice. It's a trade.
It's a trade. You're not doing a trade. You're giving her a choice. At the end of the day, you're going to be taking that phone away anyway, but you've got two items there that might distract her.
And made her feel important by giving her an option now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's important that as parents we retain that sense of control over the boundaries, we retain our routines. We're not surrendering those, but we're just giving children an opportunity to feel their own sense of agency, and it's showing them, I guess, respect, and we're respecting each other.
And does this start as little, is it too late now?
Oh, no. Start now. But look, you can be doing it from as soon as they start to show those signs of frustration and that a capacity to show a preference for things. So when they're very little, like less than 6 months, there's no point giving them a choice because they have no sense of preference. They like whatever is bright and shiny right in front of them. They're not necessarily going to know that when you take something away, it's gone, or it's still an option. So from about 6 months onwards, when they start to show preferences, then you can say, oh, which one would you like? And certainly when they start to eat finger foods and you're giving them some choice over what they might like to taste, yeah, absolutely.
Make them feel like they're in control of their lives while still calling out the last shot.
Yeah, and it helps them to foster a sense of responsibility as well, personal responsibility. If you've got a preschooler, it's a great time to start doing lots of choices, giving them lots of options, because they're at that stage where they really want to assert their own sense of self. They want to, make decisions about their life. So let's give them some capacity to do that. But remember, you're only giving them choices of things that you're happy for them to have. So you're not going to be saying, do you want your chocolate or your apple? Because we actually just want them to have the apple. But it's saying, do you want your apple or your banana? You don't mind which option they're going with. If you don't mind which shirt they're wearing, which shoes they're wearing, if they're going to have a bath or a shower, if they're going to play inside or outside, anything that doesn't really have a bearing or impacting on your parenting, by all means, that's where you give them that choice. So for kids, when you're trying to get them to do things that they're quite resistant to, for example, like maybe going to
eat dinner,
you'd be going, oh, which one do you want to eat first? Do you want to eat the potato or do you want to eat the beans? Or if they're reluctant to get in the car, or that you're finding that they're having a bit of a problem getting through the morning routine. So rather than saying you've got to do this and you've got to do this, and give them the choice. They're going to do it all anyway. Are you going to put your shoes on or brush your teeth first? So suddenly that just takes the battle out of what you're actually saying. Come on, brush your teeth, brush your teeth, brush your teeth, or time for shoes, time for shoes. You've given them that choice, and they go, well, I'm going to do my shoes first. Children are not inherently trying to be naughty or disobedient. They're just trying to exert their own will, but they don't necessarily understand why we've put the rules in place that we've put in place. We have to be hard and fast on things that are around their safety and things for their own protection, absolutely. But there are times when we actually have to explain a little bit, or it does us justice if we explain a little bit about what's going on and why we need them to follow through what we've asked them to do.
It makes them feel valued, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. It makes them feel valued. If Callie, for example, is arching her back and not putting her shoes on and she needs to go, that's one of those times you're not going to give her a big choice because actually you're on a time schedule and you actually just need to go. So it's okay to say to her, Callie, we're putting your shoes on because we're going out, and tell her about where you're going. And sometimes, even though they're very little, we can start talking about we're going to go to the shops or we're going to go to Grandma's house, and we start talking about what's going to happen, and that is distracting them enough for you to put their shoes on. I guess the thing to remember is that it's okay to give your children explanations no matter how little they are. We know that they don't understand every word that we say, but we know that they understand our tone of voice, we understand our intent behind what we're saying, and they can have a sense of anticipation as to what's coming next.
Okay. What are some options when I'm at my tether? I'm done, and she's been throwing a tantrum, she's just losing it. What are options? What can I think of to do?
Yeah, it's going to happen.
It does happen.
It absolutely will happen. Yeah, and it's good to have a little bit of a backup plan when it does. Sometimes that is going to be, you know what, I need a minute and I'm going to pop you in your cot. Here are some toys. You just stay here and have your little bit of quiet time. Mummy's going to go and have my quiet time. And that way she's safe, she's got things that she's going to occupy her. She might cry for a few minutes. That's okay. It's going to just give you a little bit of breathing space. Mm-hmm. I guess the other thing is thinking about, share the load. It's okay to admit that these things are tricky and go and visit a friend. Drop her off at a friend. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely a fine thing to do. Or going, you know what, I just need to get you in the car. We need to go for a little drive. Or I'm going to pop you in the pram, we're going to go for a walk. Just even a walk around the block for a few minutes where you can both, it's kind of like a circuit breaker, you break the environment, get out, enjoy some fresh air, talk about the things that you're seeing, talk about what's going on. You'll find that you'll both come back into the house in a very different mood. Yeah. And remembering that littlies don't have a lot of self-control yet. We've got to be the ones with the self-control. And sometimes we need to put some physical limits around them so that they get the chance to develop that.
When do they have self-control? Not on here.
Have you met a teenager?
When do they have self-control? When can I actually say, yes, she's being naughty, or no, she's not being naughty because she...
Okay. A bit of advice that I was given as a parent is to parent in a funnel. So you can picture the shape of a funnel like this. So as they are small, you've got more tightly negotiated boundaries around them. So we're giving them lots of choice and control amongst that. But as they get older, we gradually open up the freedoms and give them choices about bigger things. And as you give them that, when you've been giving them choices from early on, you're saying to them, hey, I listen to you, I trust you. And so you give them the opportunity to gradually expand those choices until they're making independent
Good choices
as they grow older. Yeah, they learn that there's a consequence to their actions as well. So that very early stage of just saying, which one do you want, making them take the one or giving them the one that they've indicated, that's just showing them from a very tiny age that I've made a choice and this is the consequence of my choice. So if you're finding that you're really frustrated with your child's communication, you feel as though you're having trouble interpreting what they're saying, or that perhaps they're not learning words or putting words together to make sentences as quickly as you would like them to, it's a great time to get in touch with a speech pathologist. We'd love to chat to you about how we can support you and your child's communication journey.
Callie Ray, what would you like? Callie, what would you like? Would you like cheese or a cracker? Do you want a cracker? Good
choice, baby.